All right, on the line we have Dr. Boyce Watkins, founder of YourBlackWorld.com and Financial Juneteenth. You know, we talk about their articles all the time here on the African History Network show and on my daily show, the Michael Imhotep Show. And we want to bring Dr. Watkins on to talk about Empire, the Coonery of the entertainment ghetto. We want to welcome to the African History Network show, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Hello, Dr. Boyce Watkins. How you doing tonight?
Doing great, brother. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. Just busy and tired because I just got back in from Baltimore. This was about 11:30 today, man. I got back to Detroit, so just my third weekend in a row out of town, man. So just busy and tired.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that, man. Sounds like you got a lot of good stuff going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, you know, you and I, we talked over the weekend, and I wanted to bring you on because it was interesting, you know, what happened since, I guess, with March 18th, with the season finale of Empire, and that same night you were on CNN with Don Lemon, and I actually have the audio of that. We're going to play that to set up the conversation here, but I know I got a lot of comments about it because I posted it on my fan page. And I was actually watching it live. I was broadcasting my daily show, but I was watching it live on CNN when it was happening, man. And I couldn't believe what was going on with the interview. And then you did another interview on CNN. I think the next day or day after that, and then you on CNN this Sunday. So just curious, and I'm gonna play this clip here to set things up. But what has been the response to your recent comments about the TV show Empire?
It's kind of a black civil war right now. You know, you got conscious black folks who who understand what's going on, who understand the history of minstrel shows and blaxploitation television. And then you've got those who are just mad because it's not fun to walk into a crowded bar and tell everybody to be careful about how much they drink. You know, nobody's going to listen to you. They want to just turn the music back up. You know, and because I haven't heard a single person really refute what I've said. You know, they can't refute it. The most they can say is stop hating. You know, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Stop hating.
Yeah. You know, and I try to diffuse. I let people know I don't hold any ill will if you like the show. I'm not gonna hate on you. I just want you to think about what you're watching. Understand that the man always got a plan for you, and he's controlling your mind with this crap.
Exactly. Listen to it with a critical mind. Listen to it with a critical. They just gonna sit back and be entertained. But the question I ask people. And I have yet for anybody to provide me any information on this. I asked them, the people, and I posted this on my fan page today, I said, the people who say that TV shows like Empire are just entertainment, what studies are you citing that state that that TV shows and what you watch, read, and hear are just entertainment and don't affect the way you think, feel, act, and behave? What studies are you citing? What psychological studies are you citing? Any of them? What studies are you citing to document this? Okay, because I got studies that prove the opposite. So what studies are you citing to show this? You know, and I have yet for anybody to provide me with any evidence. So that's
yeah. I mean, you're not talking to people that are going to cite a study. You know, they could cite a TV show, cite a hip hop song. You know, and you know, I mean, in this world, there's wolves, there's sheep. The sheep cannot really tell you how a wolf thinks. And so effectively, the reason propaganda works is because you convince the masses that it's just entertainment. That's the only way they'll consume it with an open mind. So it makes sense that people would fall for the hype. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, all we can do is just try to educate people, and some people aren't going to want to hear it, and I understand that.
Right. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to jump into this. I want to play two clips I want to play. First, to set things up, I want to play this clip. It's about 3.5 minutes. This is from the upcoming documentary, Wilmington on Fire. This is Dr. Umar Johnson dealing with the propaganda of the media and how the media is propaganda, okay? And then we're going to play the interview that you did on CNN, okay? I was surprised, man, that they played that clip of empire, and they were cursing on there, using the B word, all that stuff. I was like, this is on CNN. I was surprised.
Right.
But
yeah, that was pretty funny.
I don't remember them doing that with white people though, like with white actors, you know, playing that on CNN, but just with black actors and actresses.
Exactly. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Stand by. Take a listen to this here. Let me cue this up. Okay, folks. This is Dr. Umar Johnson, who is a psychologist, by the way, which means he studies the way the mind works, and he's dealing with the propaganda of the media. Take a listen to this.
Propaganda is essential to any military campaign. Black people tend not to understand propaganda. And the reason why we tend not to understand propaganda is because the propaganda channels, the mediums, the conduits, the radio, the television, the newspaper, we tend to just treat as forms of entertainment. We don't see them as military strategy. When there's a movie depicting black people in a negative image, when there's caricatures in the newspaper making jokes about black people, we tend to just see it as political entertainment. We don't see it as laying the foundation before the storm. That's exactly what they did in Wilmington. You always seek to create a context that allows your military campaign to be acceptable. There's always context. You study Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany. He had a propaganda campaign that lasted over a year before he began to physically oppress the Jews. He had to make sure that the national mindset had been conditioned to accept the extermination to come. In Wilmington, North Carolina, the same exact thing happened years before Nazi Germany. Through the magazines, through the radio, through word of mouth, through stage play, they created negative images of black people in the minds of white folk in case there were any liberals who would have been against what they were going to do. They were slowly able to reform their opinion by constantly repeating negative information about the target population. See, the one thing about the brain that we got to understand is the creature of repetition. Whoever has the most access to the brain rules the brain. It's all about volume, not quality. The more you tell people that a certain group of people are no good, the more you show images, the more you show sounds, song, poem, dance, projecting negative information about a people, sooner or later, the subconscious begins to get conditioned automatically, because you can't turn off the subconscious to what it sees and what it hears. Sound and image, you cannot stop it except to stay away from it. So sound and image are critical to any propaganda campaign because they help lessen the defenses of anyone who may be against what you're trying to do. It's the same thing happening right now. There is a direct assault on the image of the black man and woman internationally. So when mass incarceration, homicide takes place, nobody cares what's happening to black folk because they've already been conditioned to believe that these people are better off dead anyway. So propaganda is the first stage of military warfare. Right now, we're being set up for another extermination campaign. It's going to be worse than what went on in Wilmington, Tulsa, Charleston, Rosewood. It's going to be worse. Whenever the propaganda gets worse, then you know the extermination is going to be that much worse, because you see how far the exterminator had to go in order to condition the people, to prepare them for the carnage to come.
All right. That's from the upcoming documentary, Wilmington on Fire. That was Dr. Umar Johnson. Okay, so look out for that. It's coming out, I think, summer of this year. Wilmington on Fire. That deals with the Wilmington Massacre of 1868. I'm going to get to the second clip in just a minute, then we're going to bring Dr. Boyce Watkins back on. So, Dr. Boyce Watkins, you may just want to jot down some notes of comments. All right. Now, also, if you listen to the show that I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Empire Strikes Black, the propaganda of the media. Empire Strikes Black, the propaganda of the media. That was a 3-hour show. I went into all this information in depth. Okay, so you may want to listen to that after this show to get some background. I deal with the Wilmington Massacre, 1868. I deal with the study that came out about a month ago, documenting 3,954 lynchings of African Americans from 1877 to 1950 in 12 southern states. There was a lot of information in that show. Okay, this next clip I want to play for you. This is the interview from March 18th, Wednesday, March 18th, on CNN that Dr. Boyce Watkins did with Don Lemon. All right, so that was from March 18th. All right, Dr. Watkins, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Okay, so you could go ahead and comment, man. She Deshaun Farad on Facebook, he said that Michelle Turner did that at the end to save face, man, because she really looked ignorant trying to defend that manure. But go ahead, brother.
Well, I think that it's really a matter of saying, where does life imitate art, and are you willing to deal with the consequences of what is being portrayed of your people in media? Basically, you have to ask yourself this question. When you go into a jury room and you see an innocent black man who gets convicted of a crime he did not commit by an all-white jury, in many of those cases, it happened in the Trayvon case, it happened in the Jordan Davis case, and many others. In many of those cases, the attorneys take the easy way out, which is they will get the conviction by convincing the jury that this black man is a thug, that he's harmful. They'll show something where he got suspended from school or he smoked some weed or whatever. And the jury buys it. They buy it. And here's the funny thing. Many of those jury members don't have any black friends. They don't even know black people like that. So why is it so easy to convince people that know nothing about black people from a personal standpoint that this black man must be a thug? Comes from media. It comes from what they're seeing on TV. It comes from what they're listening to on the radio. I know a guy who is a black cop. He was a black cop for 25 years. He said a whole lot of these white boys come from the suburbs and the country. They don't know anything about black people, but they are petrified of them because of what they've seen in the media. So when they run into a black man, they are fearful for their lives. They overreact. They don't come in and say, I want to hunt Negroes. They come in and say, I don't want Negroes to hunt me. So, I just think that people are not connecting the dots. But also, I think that we have a class divide in the black community. Remember, mass incarceration is not affecting all black people. It's only affecting black men. So a lot of black women love their drama more than they love their black men. So they don't care when they see brothers being hauled off to prison. Many of them assume that it's because something's wrong with these men. Well, if you didn't want to get 50 years in prison, you shouldn't have sold a gram of crack. You'll hear women say things like that rather than comparing the punishment to the crime. But then here's the other kicker. It's not just black men going to prison. It's poor black men, particularly those who don't have jobs or don't have an education. That particular segment of a subsegment of a subsegment, that is the most incarcerated group of human beings on the entire earth. So the middle-class black in America, in many cases, feels completely disconnected from that. In their mind, a lot of it really is entertainment. If they don't have relatives or close friends who've dealt with mass incarceration or police violence or urban violence, they really do think of it as something that happens to those people. And that's why people can watch this show. They can hear what I just said. They can actually agree with what I'm saying and still say, yeah, but I still like me some Empire. I still like me some Scandal. I still like my drama. And that's just what it is.
And, to take that a step further, you have a growing number of African-American women who are being incarcerated now. There's a growing number of African-American women. Actually, some studies show that's the fastest growing segment. Because you have about around in 2013, I think the number dropped to about 793,000 African American men incarcerated. You have a growing number of African American women because they're getting involved in, from my research on this and my understanding, more of them are getting involved in drugs because of their boyfriends or what have you, and they're going to prison. But what's interesting is I was at, weekend before last, I was at the National Black Theater in New York for the Scheherazade Ali lecture. And one of the things she talked about is how when you have a police officer encountering African-American youth and they perceive them as being a threat or violent, they're in fear for their life or something like that, all the negative statistics and imagery that they have seen on African-Americans gets inadvertently oftentimes attached to that person. That's in the subconscious. And this is what Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about in the clip. that we play, you can't turn the subconscious off. That is there. And just like you talked about with the juries, okay, all those negative images that they see of African Americans, the negative statistics they hear, or what have you, they get inadvertently oftentimes associated with that person that's in front of them that the prosecution has depicted as a thug and a hoodlum or what have you. Okay, so it's important for us to understand how this imagery works. Let me ask you this question. Now, you were on CNN again this Sunday, wasn't it? Sunday, 11 a.m., wasn't it? I forgot the name of the show that you were on. What was the name of that show that you were on?
Reliable Sources.
Reliable Sources. Okay. Now, who's the host there, and what did you talk about?
I think his name is Jake Tapper. I've never seen the show before. It's a good show, though. I watched it right before I went on, and you know, and basically he really reiterated kind of a less, I would say a far more balanced version of what Don Lemon did. You know, Don Lemon, I honestly think Don Lemon, Don don't like me. Don, there's no way Don Lemon likes me. The things I said about him, and so I think that for Don, perhaps he was, you know, he was supporting his good friend Lee Daniels, and trying to throw my voice in there as a dissenting voice, but I don't think it was meant to be a balanced conversation, whereas I think Jake Tapper was trying to get to the bottom of it. So, as you know, these TV shows, they like to put Negroes together so they can fight each other. So they had me on with the black professor from UCLA. I didn't see the brother's face or anything, but he sounded like an intelligent guy. However, obviously his opinion was entirely different. And we just kind of went back and forth. And, you know, and my simple fundamental point is very similar to what Umar Johnson talks about is y'all need to really go study the history of propaganda. If you really ever think media is just entertainment, you are an absolute fool. You need to, you know, I don't want to say that. I don't want to, you know, disrespect.
No, tell the truth.
Don't know that history, but it's a fact. I mean, media, one of the first things any group of people does when you conquer a group of people, first thing you do is you take over their radio and TV stations. You take over their channels of communication. And then the next thing you do is you kill off any smart people who might provide a dissenting voice to what you're trying to do as an occupying threat. So ultimately, you know, the media is one of the most powerful forms of education, indoctrination, mind control in existence. So, you know, you can't, and then you see the show's released by Fox. Fox, this is a show where Bill O'Reilly said he wanted to lynch Michelle Obama. He was making a joke, but he's still saying lynch and Michelle Obama, right? I mean, and you could go down the list, you know. So you love this show so much, you're gonna go put money into the hands of the man who said he wanted to lynch the first black first lady in the history of the United States. You know, people. I think the guy asked me. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
No. But I was just going to say, not only that, people have to keep in mind, in the early 1990s, Fox is the same network that brought you that wonderful, groundbreaking show, In Living Color. Okay? They had all the negative stereotypes of African Americans. This is the same network. Okay? This is the same. Fox is the same conglomerate, okay, under Rupert Murdoch that brought you the movie late last year, Exodus. Gods of Egypt. Okay, actually, Gods and Kings.
Yeah.
Gods and Kings, yeah. And then they depicted the pharaohs in the royalty of ancient Egypt as European and the servants as Africans. These are the same people that brought you this. Okay, so you have to understand how to connect these dots. All right. Okay, look, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue with this. And I want to juxtapose this to the movie The Birth of a Nation, because when the movie The Birth of a Nation came out, African Americans understood that we were under attack and we had to retaliate against these images. And they had white people in blackface portraying African Americans in a negative, stereotypical way. Today, they put Negroes in blackface roles, dress them in $5,000 gowns, give them $10,000 weaves and $2,000 suits, and we don't understand that we're still under attack by the same mentality. Okay? So we're going to deal with that on the other side of the break. All right, so just stand by, Dr. Boyce Watkins, okay?
Sounds good.
Stand by. All right, you listen to the African History Network show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, where knowledge is power. Join us in the chat room blogtalkradio.com/The African History Network Show, blogtalkradio.com/The African History Network Show. In the chat room, we have Abdul Mateen, Gather07, Hadassah 1965, James Bell Jr. X, Lala Smith, and Zit. Just a few of the people in the chat room. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. Let people know that we're broadcasting live tonight, special broadcast. And we're going to re-air this interview on my nightly show, the Michael Imhotep Show, 10 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time on the Empowerment Radio Network. If you visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, we have all the information there and about how to listen to the show, everything right there. Okay? All right. We'll be back in a few minutes.
This is Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network Show and the Michael Imhotep Show. Detroit, Sunday, April 5th, 2015. I'm doing a double presentation at Nandy's Knowledge Cafe where knowledge is power. I will be dealing with Empire Strikes Black, the propaganda of the media, and Malcolm X, 50 years later, why is he still relevant? This is presented by the African History Network Lecture Series. This is taking place Sunday, April 5th, 2015, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Nandy's Knowledge Cafe, where knowledge is power, located at 12511 Woodward Avenue in Highland Park, Michigan, 4 blocks south of the Davison Freeway between Glendale and Highland Street. This presentation will deal with the propaganda of the media and how negative depictions of African Americans influence the way people think, feel, act, and behave. Most people think that TV shows, movies, songs, etc. are just entertainment. The history and evidence prove that this is wrong. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you is based upon what you think about yourself. Now, topics that will be covered in this presentation will include the TV show Empire and its negative images of African Americans and why we don't understand this. Also, I'll deal with Nicki Minaj, Anaconda, and the marketing of destruction to African American youth. How excessive TV watching damages the self-esteem of African American children. A history of how negative images of African Americans help to facilitate attacks on African Americans, and much, much more. For more information, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information right on the home page, and also at the top of the screen, click on the Events tab, and the information is there as well. You can also call us at 313-462-0003, 313-462-0003, or 313-865-1288. 313-865-1288. This is a free event. Donations will be accepted. Food, including vegetarian dishes, will be sold by Nandy of Nandy's Knowledge Cafe. You can also email us at info@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, info@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Be sure to listen to the African History Network show Thursdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Visit AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for more information. And also listen to the Michael Imhotep Show Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time on the Empowerment Radio Network. Hope to see you there.
All right. Welcome back to the African History Network Show. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Dr. Boyce Watkins of YourBlackWorld.com and Financial Juneteenth. We're talking about Empire, the Coonery of the Entertainment Ghetto. Empire. We're talking about the TV show, the Coonery of the Entertainment Ghetto. We're going to go to the phone lines in just a minute. If you have a quick question or comment, we have for a few more minutes. Give us a call, 914-338-1375, 914-338-1375. Press the number 1 key to put you in queue so we can bring you on the air. When we go to the phone lines, we'll be going to James in the DMV and Dominique in San Diego, California. All right, let's bring Dr. Boyce Watkins back on. All right, Dr. Boyce, you still there?
Sure am, but
okay. All right, excellent. One thing, I think it's important for us to note, and there was an article from Your Black World about this, and I think this was written by Dr. Samori Swigert. Yeah. February 8th, 2015 was the 100-year anniversary of the debut of the movie The Birth of a Nation. Okay. Now, The Birth of a Nation was a landmark movie. It was a 3-hour movie. It was a silent movie. There was nothing ever like it before. It was based upon the novel called The Klansman by Thomas Dixon. Okay. And in the movie, the Ku Klux Klan are the heroes. All right, in this movie, and the majority of the main African American characters were white people in blackface, and all of the negative images of all the negative stereotypes of African Americans were shown in this movie. Was the Coons, the Sambos, the Mammies, the Pickaninnies, even lampooning African American congressmen, because it also takes place during the Reconstruction era, and it lampoons African American congressmen. And back at this time, this movie caused race riots in the street. Okay, but also when it for the debut in New York in March of 2015, African Americans organized to protest this movie because they knew it was detrimental to the images of African Americans and detrimental to the way that other people perceived us. Because this is at a time when they were lynching African Americans. I mean, around this time, I think you have somewhere around 60 lynchings of African Americans in a year. Okay, so in the name of this article, people can check this out. This is from YourBlackWorld.com. Racist Klansman movie with blackface is officially 100 years old by Dr. Samori Swaggart. Racist Klansman movie with blackface is officially 100 years old. Let me ask you this question. Why do you think, and I know you've checked out this article, you've probably got some feedback on it, why do you think we were able to perceive who was attacking us and what was detrimental to our well-being and our images 100 years ago, but today many of us have a hard time to identify the same thing? Why do you think that exists?
Well, first of all, I think that any era in which you've had black people who stood up for what was right, you always had folks that didn't get it. You always had, when Dr. King marched or when Malcolm spoke, there were black people who said, I don't have time for that. I'm not listening to that. They're too serious. This doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm not really entirely sure that people have changed that much in terms of what defines human nature. One difference between Empire and The Birth of a Nation is that Empire is a show that appeals to everyone. A lot of black people love it. A lot of white people watch it. It's kind of portrayed as sort of this all-American kind of endeavor. I don't think A Birth of a Nation was marketed to black people. They didn't.
No, it wasn't.
They didn't pretend at all. They said, look, this is for white folks by white folks, and really, if you look at any kind of oppression or violence toward any minority group around the world, whether you're talking about what happened to the Jews in Germany or African Americans here or the Tamils in Sri Lanka, all the way around the world. Basically, the theme is kind of consistent in that no one wants to feel like their group is the bad guy. They want to feel somehow that the oppression they're committing on other groups, the violence they're committing on other groups, is called for because they're trying to protect their own against aggression that is coming toward them. Like a lot of Jews, for example, today have become very, very aggressive toward Palestinians because they live under this veil of fighting anti-Semitism, right? When Hitler emerged in Germany as a hero there, it was because Hitler had convinced the German people that they'd been victimized by the Jews and they have to stop this victimization. The list kind of goes on and on. In Tulsa, during Black Wall Street, the whites who were going and murdering black families and burning their houses and looting them, they were portrayed in the media as heroes who were squashing the rebellion of the outrageous Negroes who had been getting out of line. So, the consistent theme is that in order to get away with this kind of behavior, which most people would not agree with on its face, you have to present some sort of noble objective in terms of what you're doing. Whenever America goes to war to get those little 18-year-old white boys in Nebraska and the 18-year-old kids out of Detroit to go fight, a lot of times they will spit this lie about fighting for freedom and democracy against these savages in Iraq and other places, when really they're just sending them over to go get some oil. They're sending them over there to destroy somebody else's territory and to dehumanize another group of people. It's a consistent theme. It always works. And also the other thing, too, that we have to understand is that, you know, he who has the power, he who has the gold makes the rules. That's always been true. So when you talk about media, those who control the media, they get to portray themselves in whatever way they want. The people who made Birth of a Nation said, we want white people to be the heroes. We want Klansmen to be the good guys, and they got to write the narrative. If you look at Empire, here's an interesting correlation to Empire. Lee Daniels, he's very proud of being a gay man, and I'm not going into that at all, but he's very proud of that. Now look at the characters on Empire. Nearly every single character on that show has a severe dysfunction. Many of them are very violent. Many of them are very criminal. But the most noble character on that show is the gay man. You see, so that is yet another example of the fact that when people, those who write the scripts are the ones who get to portray themselves and people like them in whatever way they want. And so nothing's really changed in that regard.
Right, exactly. That's the homosexual agenda being pushed once again. And when I did my 3-hour show, Empire Strikes Black, the propaganda in the media, I played an excerpt from Tony Browder, his excellent lecture, Blindsided from Precious to Monsters Ball, where he does a background analysis on Lee Daniels, and it really exposes him, because a lot of the garbage that you see coming from Lee Daniels can be traced back to his mindset. It can be traced back to him being molested when he was younger. Even the movie Shadow Boxer, he said, Lee Daniels said that was about his life, because he went to go live with his uncle who was a hitman, and that's a sick movie. When you look at the TV show, when you look at the movie Precious, that's another sick movie. And so you're dealing with a lot of sickness coming out through the television and through the TV show.
Oh yeah. Lee Daniels is. Yeah, Lee is clearly he's clearly mentally ill. It's undiagnosed, and it's really being empowered by this Eurocentric media that loves him because he embraces Judaism more than he embraces being an African American. And he's basically pretty much said that he's willing to be a hoe. He's willing to be a hoe to get on TV. He went and told Don Lemon flat out that he'll sell out or do whatever he's got to do to get his movie in the theaters. So, and if you trace that back to his background in terms of the family he came from, you see exactly where that came, where all this rooted, and it's very, very sad. But it is what it is.
Absolutely. Also, I want people to check out this article from TheRoot.com. TheRoot.com. How Black America rallied to stop the racist film Birth of a Nation. How Black America rallied to stop the racist film The Birth of a Nation. Now, this deals with what I was talking about when it was going to debut in March 3rd, 1915 in New York. And African Americans, the NAACP, rallied to protest against this because they understood that this imagery was detrimental to African Americans. Okay, so check out that article also. We're going to go to the phone lines in just a minute here. I want to give you this other article as well, because I talked about the studies, and I talked about how I asked people, what studies are you citing that entertainment is just entertainment and does not affect the way you think, feel, act, and behave? It doesn't affect your subconscious, anything like that. Take a look at these two articles citing the same study. The first one is from blackamericaweb.com, blackamericaweb.com. TV kills black boys' self-esteem. TV kills black boys' self-esteem. I deal with this in my series, The Media's Deliberate Destruction of the African American Family. This is from June 14th, 2012. And it talks about a new, precise, and exhaustive year-long study finds that watching television regularly distorts and ultimately destroys the self-esteem of young black males, who often find themselves comparing one another to the characters they view on air, leaving them feeling trapped and as if there are, quote, very few positive life paths they can aspire to, end quote. Now, this is documented. This is not opinion, okay? TV kills black boys' self-esteem, blackamericaweb.com, June 14, 2012. CNN, now this is something Don Lemon's not going to tell you. CNN had an article about the same study. What was the title of CNN's article? TV can boost self-esteem of white boys, study says. TV can boost self-esteem of white boys, study says. Now, if this is just entertainment and it doesn't affect the way you think, feel, act, and behave, then why do these studies contradict this? Okay, check out both of those articles about the same study. It has and white boys were the only group that TV consumption had a positive impact on their self-esteem, because when they talked about girls, when they talked about African-American girls and African-American boys, it had a negative impact on the self-esteem of those groups. Okay, check out those articles. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines. We got a couple quick comments and questions for you, Dr. Boyce Watkins, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's go to James in the DMV. James, welcome to the African History Network show. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right there, Brother Imhotep and Brother Watkins. How y'all doing?
All right, excellent, brother.
Doing good, brother.
All right. First off, I'd like to open off with this quote here. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and make the guilty innocent, and that's power, because they control the minds of the masses. Now, everybody knows where that comes from.
Yes.
Now, yeah, so now the thing is about the whole discussion that, Dr. Watkins had on Empire on CNN, it was real quick for that lady to interrupt you while you were, in conversation, make your point. And I found that troubling because, I mean, as an adult or, when you try to go into a debate with somebody else, you make your point, you say your piece, and then you let the other person make their point and say their piece. So I think they were pretty much bothered with what you had to say because maybe what you had to say was pretty much right.
Yeah. I mean, I think here's the thing: they can't really argue with the points that I made. I don't think the people there really were trained to do that. But then also, they just didn't have the ammunition. Truth was not on this side. Let's just say that.
Right.
I almost compare it to, just a wild drunken frat party where somebody says, y'all need to slow down your drinking because somebody's going to get sick and get alcohol poisoning if you keep drinking like this. And what do? They don't explain why drinking is healthy because they can't do that. They don't explain why what they're doing is a positive thing. The only thing they usually do is drown you out. They turn the music up and say, shut up, right? And so right now people are drunk off of Empire. And they, people just don't want to hear it. When people are eating unhealthy foods, they don't want to hear you sitting there telling them like this is going to give you high cholesterol, this is going to kill you. So right. I understood the reaction, but I understood also that by just making that point, it might change how people view the show. It might make them think a little more critically. It might make a few people stop watching the show because I feel like that voice still needed to be there. But I know when I'm outnumbered, and when it comes to Empire, right now Lee Daniels is winning. But he's not going to win without a fight. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole thing about all those people talking about it's just entertainment. Well, if they keep saying that it's just entertainment, all they have to do is come over here to D.C. and come to one of Dr. Wilson's lectures and see if it's just entertainment.
There you go.
Dr. Francis.
Yeah, most people who say that just really don't. They haven't studied this. They don't have anything to base it on. They're just going off their gut. It is what it is. It's just unfortunate. It's like a lot of people, unfortunately, for example, who get hooked on drugs, they don't know that drugs are dangerous when they start using them. And not everybody, but a lot of people, they really don't realize the long-term effects of trying cocaine or heroin and stuff like that. People who really understand it and who've seen it up close, who've seen a drug addict in their own family and know what these drugs do to their body, those people tend to stay away from that kind of stuff. And I compare it to kind of the same thing.
All right. Absolutely.
Thank you all.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling in, James. Thanks for calling in. Keep listening. All right. Let me give people. We're gonna get this other call, Mike in Queens, in just a minute here. Let me give a couple other articles for people to check out. One is a study from the American Psychological Association, posted March 6, 2014. Black boys viewed as older, less innocent than whites, research finds. Now, this is a study. This isn't somebody just sitting on TV just talking about some nonsense. This is a study. This is from the American Psychological Association, okay? It says black boys as young as 10 may not be viewed in the same light of childhood innocence as their white peers, but are instead more likely to be mistaken as older. We saw that with Tamir Rice, who was 12, and somebody thought he was 20, okay? They may be perceived as guilty and face police violence if accused of a crime. Okay, They're more likely to be mistaken as older, be perceived as guilty, and face police violence if accused of a crime, according to a new research published by the American Psychological Association. Quote, children in most societies are considered to be in a distinct group with characteristics such as innocence and the need for protection. Our research found that black boys can be seen as responsible for their actions at an age where white boys still benefit from the assumption that children are essentially innocent, end quote, said author Philip Atiba Goff, PhD of the University of California, Los Angeles. Okay, so check this out. Black boys viewed as older, less innocent than whites, research finds. This is from the American Psychological Association. And he's also a guest sometimes on Melissa Harris Perry's show on MSNBC on the weekend. And he was on there talking about this study also. The second article I want people to check out, this is from HuffingtonPost.com, Black Voices. When the media treats white suspects and killers better than black victims. When the media treats white suspects and killers better than black victims. And what this article, I don't know if you saw this article before, Dr. Watkins, but I'll send this to you if you haven't seen it. They go through and they cite numerous headlines from various newspapers, and they show you how the white victim, it was almost a surprise that they went on a shooting spree. And they would go out of their way to say something nice about this person, like theater shooting suspect was brilliant science student. Okay, now this guy shot a bunch of people, but he was a brilliant science student. Okay, but when it was an African American who's the victim, they bring up the person's past. This person used to be a drug dealer. This person spent 30 years in prison, as if that's justification for them being killed. Okay, very, very important article. When the media treats white suspects and killers better than black victims. All right. Have you seen that article before, Dr. Watkins?
No, I haven't seen it, but it doesn't surprise me.
Oh, I'm going to send this to you, brother. This thing will blow your mind. They go through headline after headline after headline, numerous articles from across the country, numerous cases, and they show you how the white suspect was treated, and they even break it down. They show how oftentimes the media will go out of their way to say this was so out of characteristic of this person. He was such a nice guy. He was such a quiet guy. I don't know why he killed his whole family. I don't understand this. Okay, but it's brother. Man, you have to read this article, brother. It's deep. Okay, let's go quickly to because we got you for about 7 more minutes here, and we're gonna get out of here. Let's go to Mike in Queens, New York. I was just in New York last 2 weekends, actually, National Black Theater. Mike, how you doing tonight? Welcome to the African History Network show.
Man, blessings, brothers, blessings. So I'm just gonna make a quick statement there because I know y'all gotta punch out. But
go ahead.
We really gotta change the images that are put on these programs about our people, man. I mean, all these shows, empire, power, scandals, love and hip hop. I mean, it's the same story told over and over again. The only difference is the names of the characters have changed. It's the same story. Why? Let me ask y'all a question. Why don't they ever put up shows like Egypt? Do a series on Egypt? Yeah. Egypt? Why don't they ever put a show like that on there? Oh, where they got the stories of Egypt, or have a cat, all black cast playing the Egyptians or something like that, showing how the Egyptian dynasties lived and stuff like that. I would love to see something like that. Or why don't they have a movie about the Haitian Revolution? Why don't they have a movie about that? Y'all, every time I tell people all the time, they ain't never gonna show black people in a position of power. Never. They never do it in media. We always gotta play a mammy, a bedwench, a down on our luck. I'm serious, a down on our luck, brother. Right. And I gotta agree with what Dr. Watkins said. Some boys, the white boys, some soldiers, they do go over there and exploit those other countries. Look up a guy by the name of Smedley Butler. Smedley Butler was a high-ranking, I believe, Marine or Army person back in the 1920s and 30s. When he came home from doing his tour of duty, he went on the record to say that there was certain individuals, certain higher-ups and elites in this country that was using him and his army to exploit other countries for resources. Go look up Smithley Butler. These guys know exactly what they're doing, man. Our people need to wake up and change these doggone images, man. If we don't change these images, we can't complain later about how we get discriminated on. Period.
Absolutely. All right, thanks for the call, Mike. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Keep listening. Okay. All right. Go ahead and comment on that, Dr. Watkins, and then we're going to get into how do we change these images, and we'll get into some of the work that Your Black World and Your Black World Films are doing to do just that. Go ahead.
Well, I think that when you talk about the images that are being portrayed in media, understand who's making this stuff. Understand who's creating this. This is coming from a culture that has spent hundreds of years learning how to hate you. They have no concern whatsoever with what happened to your people before you arrived on slave ships. That's why in the schools that they built for you to indoctrinate you, not to educate you, those schools that they built to control you do not tell you your history before you arrived here, because that doesn't matter. We saved you by taking you away from those horrible Africans, because all those Africans have is violence and poverty. That's the narrative that they've been feeding to you. So why in the world in a million years will we ever think that these individuals are going to portray us in a way that is empowering to us? You see, the funny thing is that the Black Americans, to some extent, in many ways, can almost be compared to the white man's pet. The white man, if you notice, white people love their dogs. I mean, they really love their dogs. They really need their dogs.
Right.
But they understand their dogs are not equal to them. So if you try to treat the dog like a human being, they're going to resist that. Well, the same thing's true of Black people. They need us. They love us. They're used to us being by their side, watching their kids, washing their windows and doing whatever it is that we do, providing their entertainment. But there's a hierarchy in that relationship that they wish to maintain. And when we deviate from that, there's going to be resistance. And here's the thing that, Michael, that I think Black people really got to understand. We got to think about this, because this goes to the root of who we are as a people in America. We do not know how to fight. And it's not our fault. We were trained to be docile. We were so traumatized by white folks to be afraid all the time that's all we really knew how to do. So we're very good at surviving abuse, but we are not good at retaliating against abuse and responding to abuse. When you look at white culture, white people don't let you abuse them for very long. They will pull out a gun and blow your damn brains down. They will fight you. They will die because you don't agree with them or because you're trying to take their land or trying to oppress them. Black people will let you take all of that stuff and then somehow think that there's some dignity in bitching about all the stuff the white man took from them. There ain't no dignity in getting people to feel sorry for you. You got to get up and fight. And if you're not man enough to fight and stand up for what belongs to you, then unfortunately in this world, some people might say you don't deserve to have it. And that's just the fact. We don't know how to fight. Look at the lyrics, and I'm done. I'm gonna say then I'm done. I'm gonna let you talk about it. I didn't go on. But I was at a speech this weekend. I was analyzing. We were singing "Lift Every Voice and Sing," and I was analyzing the lyrics of that song as we were singing it. And I noticed the song.
You said you were where? You said you were where?
I was in Sacramento this week, and I was speaking at an event, and we were singing "Lift Every Voice and Sing," and I was analyzing the lyrics. And the lyrics were very much there was nothing in the lyric making any reference to who the oppressors are, who caused all this bloodshed in our community. We're afraid to mention the white man. We're afraid to even mention the horrible things white folks have done to us. We really don't want to point the finger because we're scared of what's going to happen when we do. Also, the lyrics were bent on sort of taking pride in the fact that we have survived, that they've been doing these horrible things to us, hitting us in the head, beating us down, killing us, but yet we continue to march forward. And also there's this leaning on a higher power to somehow help us survive this abuse that we've been able to endure for 400 years, because there's always hope. So we kind of live off of the Lord, we live off of hope, we live off of the ability to endure incessant victimization. But unfortunately, That is not how you conquer. That is not how you attain your freedom. So on a microcosmic scale, if we are tired of what Hollywood is doing, we have to fight back. We have to do what Mark Harris is doing. Mark Harris made the film Black Coffee. When he made that film, I said, what happened when you took your script to Hollywood? He said, I didn't take it to Hollywood. I know what Hollywood was going to do to it, so I created my own Hollywood in my own space with my own people. You got to fight back. If you don't fight back, the victimizer will continue to victimize you, and that's just the bottom line.
And Black Coffee is a fantastic movie. You have Lamont Rucker in the movie. You have Christian Keys. I've seen the movie. It's an excellent movie. Darren DeWitt Henson is in the movie also. Excellent movie, excellent message in the movie. And once again, the people who say that these TV shows or movies are just entertainment, you are telling me that you haven't talked to any directors. Because any director would tell you that there's messages that they're conveying in the movies, in the TV shows. They're trying to get people to think a certain way. They're trying to get people to feel a certain way. They want them to start this behavior, stop that behavior. Lee Daniels, the co-director of, co-creator and director of Empire, he came out, and I've got the articles to document it. He said he wanted to use Empire to blow the lid off of homophobia in the African American community. So if it's just entertainment, it doesn't affect the way you think, feel, and act and behave. Why would Lee Daniels, the director, say something like that? The evidence is there. Okay?
Bingo.
So the evidence is there. I want to give people a couple more articles. And then I want you to tell people about Your Black World Films and also the wonderful documentary coming out sometime soon, Resurrecting Black Wall Street. This article from TheRoot.com, How Reality TV Has Changed Our Daughters. How Reality TV Has Changed Our Daughters. February 5th, 2015 by Janelle Harris. It says quickly here, one mother wrestles with the influence of these popular shows depicting antisocial behavior, excessive materialism, and especially a lack of sisterhood. Check out that article from TheRoot.com. Check out this article from Dr. Boyce Watkins. Dr. Boyce Watkins, here's why I won't support the Coonery of Empire. Here's why I won't support the Coonery of Empire. And I think there's a video in this article also, so check that out as well. So, brother, briefly tell us about Your Black World Films, YourBlackWorld.com, and the Resurrecting Black Wall Street documentary coming out.
Well, Your Black World Films is it is an experiment in action, and it is growing. We're now shooting out of New York and LA, and we got some awesome stuff coming up. The first thing that we are putting out is Resurrecting Black Wall Street, and I know you've been asking me about that for a while, and I want to give the directors time. Yeah, but I'm glad the energy and support is there, and I want to support my directors in terms of letting them do what they think needs to be done before it's released. So we had a meeting today about it, and we're going to shoot one more time, and then we should be able to put something out by the end of this month. So it's called Resurrecting Black Wall Street. It's not just about talking about what happened. It's about talking about what will happen and what can happen if we put our minds to it and make it happen. Now the next thing, YourBlackWorld.com, basically it's a platform where I just wanted ideas to be shared that you're not going to see in mainstream media. I wanted people to have access to scholars that they may not get access to in mainstream media. A lot of our best scholars are locked up in white universities. They're on an academic plantation. And so we've been able to kind of help them get off of that plantation and stop doing the white man's work, start doing work for your community. As far as everything else, I think you asked about Your Black World Films, the documentary, and Your Black World. So there you go. Those are pretty much our three major endeavors. So the last thing I'll throw out there is financialjuneteenth.com. That's actually our fastest growing platform. That's really core to my heart because my PhD's in finance, and I've been teaching finance at the college level for about 20 years. So we just go into money does make the world go round, and so many people live their lives revolved around money. And so it's really fun to really talk about money in a lot of different ways. And so for me, it's kind of like Bubba Gump and Bubba Gump Shrimp in a Forrest Gump movie where he knew a million different things you could do with shrimp that you never thought about. Well, I'm the same way with money. Money can influence so many things where on the surface you might not see where it's playing a role. But then, it's fun for me as a professor to be able to break that down so that people can understand how to control their money so their money does not control them. And so that's what we're up to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And And lastly, I'm going to let you get out of here, but I want people to understand when the movie The Birth of a Nation came out, we came out with movies to answer The Birth of a Nation. We've been making movies. We can go back to 1915, 1916, and see movies made by African Americans. If you look at the book, and I don't know if you're familiar with this book, Dr. Watkins. If not, you may want to get this. It's called Blacks in American Films and Television, an illustrated encyclopedia by Donald Bogle. Man, this dude, Donald Bogle, he's the godfather of African American film and television. Blacks in American Films and Television, an illustrated encyclopedia by Donald Bogle. But on page 3, he talks about the response to the movie The Birth of a Nation. And he says the NAACP launched a formal protest movement against the film, setting up boycotts and picket lines, and soon there appeared a group of independent black filmmakers, Emmett J. Scott, the brothers George and Noble Johnson, and the legendary Oscar Micheaux, who scrambled for money from the black bourgeoisie or white backers and quickly formed production companies, determined to make all black films that stressed black America's achievements. Their first films, The Realization of a Negro's Ambition in 1916, Trooper K of Troop K, 1916, The Birth of a Race, 1918. That was a direct response to The Birth of a Nation. And The Homesteader in 1919, all initially serious tributes to black endurance and ambition, were important mainly because they proved that black cinema could exist. Afterward, scores of other film companies like Rio Productions, REOL, the Unique Film Company, the Norman Film Company Manufacturing Company, the Frederick Douglass Film Company, some black-owned, others white-controlled, sprang up in places as diverse as Jacksonville, St. Louis, Philadelphia, Chicago, and New York, often using the abandoned studios of mainstream film companies that have moved to California. Their low-budget films, frequently technically crude and mishappen, were shown at segregated theaters in the South, at big city ghetto movie houses in the North, and on occasion at black churches, schools, and social gatherings, almost any place where it was possible to reach a black audience. Before this movement of independence ended, approximately 150 such companies had come into existence and hundreds of films had been produced. So at a time when they were lynching African Americans, like one in 1919, you're going to have over 25 race riots in this country. You're going to have about somewhere around 60 African Americans lynched. We had about 150 production companies producing our own movies. So we have a history of doing this. Okay? So check that out. Once again, the name of the book, Blacks in American Film and Television, an illustrated encyclopedia by Donald Bogle. All right, brother. Well, look, I'm going to let you get out of here, and people visit yourblackworld.com, and can people follow you on Facebook? Can people follow you there?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think the Facebook page is THE Dr. Boyce Watkins. So the Dr. Boyce Watkins. If you look it up, you can find us, and we have good conversations on there every day. So anybody listening is welcome to join up. I'd be happy to have.
Okay. All right. Thanks, brother. Well, you have a great night, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Absolutely, brother. Take care of yourself.
All right. Thanks. You too. All right, family. That's Dr. Boyce Watkins of yourblackworld.com dropping the knowledge. All right. Look, we're about to get out of here. I got to get ready to do my daily show, the Michael Imhotep Show. You can listen to that. Download the TuneIn Radio app to your Android phone, your iPhone, your BlackBerry, your tablet, and search for Empowerment Radio Network, or go to TuneIn.com and search for Empowerment Radio Network on TuneIn.com. I'm going to try to play this interview. I got to go ahead and get this ready, play this interview on tonight's show. Also, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Now, this is listener-supported radio. The only way we're able to do what we do the research, and when I say we, basically I mean me, because the research, the pulling together this information, all this stuff, that's me doing this for both shows, okay? Only way we're able to do this is by you supporting us. You can go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have DVDs for you to purchase there. Also, if you want to donate to the African History Network, definitely appreciate that. Right on the home page towards the top, click on the donate button through PayPal. You can donate one time or set it up for a recurring donation to help support the African History Network, because it's very expensive to run it, pay the bills, continue doing the research, get the materials, etc. Okay? If you want to bring me in to do a presentation for your group, organization, if you want me to moderate an event, MC an event, what have you, email me at info at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, info at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, follow us on Facebook, the African History Network, the African History Network on Facebook, our Facebook fan page. If you want to advertise on the African History Network show, email me at info at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have low-cost advertising to help promote your business, your event, your service, etc. Okay, and we reach thousands of people across the country and around the world.
This is Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network show and the Michael Imhotep show. Detroit, Sunday, April 5th, 2015. I'm doing a double presentation at Nandy's Knowledge Cafe where knowledge is power. I will be dealing with Empire Strikes Black, the propaganda of the media, and Malcolm X, 50 years later, why is he still relevant? This is presented by the African History Network lecture series. This is taking place Sunday, April 5th, 2015, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Nandy's Knowledge Cafe, where knowledge is power, located at 12511 Woodward Avenue in Highland Park, Michigan, 4 blocks south of the Davison Freeway between Glendale and Highland Street. This presentation will deal with the propaganda of the media and how negative depictions of African Americans influence the way people think, feel, act, and behave. Most people think that TV shows, movies, songs, etc. are just entertainment. The history and evidence prove that this is wrong. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you is based upon what you think about yourself. Now, topics that will be covered in this presentation will include the TV show Empire and its negative images of African Americans and why we don't understand this. Also, I'll deal with Nicki Minaj, Anaconda, and the marketing of destruction to African American youth. How excessive TV watching damages the self-esteem of African American children. A history of how negative images of African Americans help to facilitate attacks on African Americans, and much, much more. For more information, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information right on the home page, and also at the top of the screen, click on the Events tab, and the information is there as well. You can also call us at 313-462-0003, 313-462-0003, or 313-865-1288. 313-865-1288. This is a free event. Donations will be accepted. Food, including vegetarian dishes, will be sold by Nandy of Nandy's Knowledge Cafe. You can also email us at info at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, info at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Be sure to listen to the African History Network show Thursdays 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Visit AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for more information. And also listen to the Michael Imhotep show Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time on the Empowerment Radio Network. Hope to see you there.